Make some noise for your host, Kid Copious.
What up, perps? Kid Copious, back in the bunker. Purple State Party, you know what we stand for. America, the center, common sense. Things that go like that, and sippy cups. Yeah, that's a great way to start a show, isn't it? Yeah! I had to prevent the cough there. And I failed. So anyhow, today's episode, this morning's episode, I don't know when you're watching this, is just Brandon doing Brandon things. I'm having a lot of fun with Brandon, and hearing that the Democrats are now supposedly saying, thank you, Brandon, really shows you how cool Let's Go Brandon is. So, let's go Brandon, Armstrong, and Getty. Keep it strong. So anyhow, we're going to kick this week off with a few just rapid fire things. I don't need to explain the title, do I? I mean, come on, you know what we're talking about. You know what's coming up. Maybe you don't. I don't know. Maybe you haven't been paying attention or you watched the wrong news. I don't know. You're watching me, so you're doing the right thing there. So anyhow, title says, Brandon doing Brandon things. Biden called Satchel Paige the Great Blank. He apologized, but I'm not even going to read these out loud. But Obama signed a bill in 2016 that banned the federal government from using the word. And he goes out and he uses it. Look, that's why I was surprised he was even the candidate on that side. Because he's an old school racist Democrat, out of touch, and obviously not capable of the job. According to Democrats, white supremacists are vastly becoming the most diverse group in America. Yeah, we are, man. We really are. White supremacists. You know, if you say it enough times, it's going to lose all effect. And I hope you realize that day is, in a lot of ways, already here. Because, come on. That shit that happened in Virginia, when people are out there labeling it as white supremacy, like, do you really think moderates buy that? You really think they buy articles like, why racist Republicans vote for black candidates? Really? Okay. Maybe because they're qualified? Maybe because they're not pushing dingbat theories? So this person here says that the real border crisis is how the United States is treating the migrants or the aliens or whatever we're supposed to call them. Migrants? I don't know. They're not supposed to be here. And people are more worried about how they're being treated. Well, if we're not asking them to come, we're not going down there and rounding up busloads of them and bringing them up to the border and then sticking them in cages. That's not the way it works. I understand we have to show as much compassion as possible, but at the same time, we didn't cause, the country as a whole did not cause this problem. Certain people with certain ideals caused this problem. This is going to be, if this happens, I would say it's one of the most insulting things ever. Again, if people come here illegally, they should not win a prize. That's bullshit. Okay? I knew my grandparents who immigrated here. So, I'm all for immigration. Illegal immigration is not immigration. So, I'm going after the Democrats right now because they are out of control. But we all, moderates on both sides, need to come together and we need to form a cohesive party here. Because this isn't a game. This isn't Monopoly. This isn't the Rams versus the Saints. This isn't Wales versus the Faroe Islands. This is real life with real consequences for us, our parents, our children, people we don't even know. But we see them. I see them every day, struggling just to get by. And right now, we're not doing right by anybody in this country. Anybody. We're not allowed to question the election of 2020 with its mass paper ballots and all kinds of weird shit going on and weird happenings and things that we really didn't expect. Whatever. Who cares? Who gives a shit? It's over and done with, right? But anyhow, we find out now that people are being arrested in connection with the Steele dossier. The whole idea that the Democrats colluded with Russia or colluded to make it look like Trump had colluded. And you wonder why we question the election. We've seen the lengths you'll go to. Okay, this flat out says it all. Does anybody still believe? Yeah, the people who don't get any sort of middle-of-the-road journalism, the people who only get CNN, this kind of shit gets glossed over, excused, explained away. Some guy with a whole bunch of initials after his name will get up there and he'll say blah, 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 blah. And people will say, oh, look, it was all excused away. Oh, Hillary didn't have anything to do with it. Except, people close to her did? Huh. Wow. Okay. I fed a false tale the whole time. And when is this stuff going to sink in with people? That if they're willing to go to these lengths, how can you trust them? Here's another one that they like to perpetuate, that menace is the political tool of the Republicans. Except Trump or supporters, seniors, and young people were attacked for wearing MAGA gear. Nobody wears Biden gear, so that hasn't happened yet. So it's an unfair comparison, I guess. But they harassed patrons at restaurants. They harassed cinema on a plane. They bought a ticket and harassed her the entire flight. They harassed her in the bathroom. They harassed Manchin when he's out on his boat. So who's the menace? I mean, who's the menace here? Really? Seriously, like right here. Just perpetuating it. Yeah, the twisted GOP. Right. They didn't concoct the Russian collusion story. They didn't call for defunding the police. They didn't go out and burn down cities in the name of George Floyd. Come on. Who's twisted and who's using menace? Come on. Hawk Newsom. Her real name, Hawk Newsom. Unlike our governor, Cock Newsom. But this BLM activist basically, was calling for riots and bloodshed if New York City reinstated its plainclothes policemen. So you have plainclothes policemen wandering around looking for street crime, because if they're in a uniform, people can spot them, so they're in plainclothes. And it cuts down on those petty little street crimes that make life for everybody, tourists, things like that, bad, miserable, whatever. Okay? So the BLM activist said, riots and bloodshed, if you put cops out there. Who's the menace? Okay? And here's the prime example. The Rittenhouse case. I don't need to recap it. I think most people know what's going on. But they crash and burn. But America's not going to see it. Because unless you read this article or exposed to this article, you're not going to know. You're going to assume, hey, they let the racist kid with no ties to Kenosha go in and shoot up a bunch of people, and they're going to let him off, from murder because he's white. No, because it was self-defense. Their own witness, the state's own witness right here, I'm not even going to gauge, admitted that Rittenhouse was justified to defend himself against Anthony Huber, jump kick man, and himself. But the people involved admitted it was self-defense. Why is this even a trial? This is going to end poorly. It's over. Kyle Rittenhouse did not fire until a gun was pointed at him. The prosecution literally face-palmed. Because it's that bad. This is what I started by saying, unconnected. Yeah, he had connections. Something like his dad owned a store there or something. I forgot what the connection was. Oh, man, I should write this stuff down. You know, but none of this stuff was proven by the prosecution. It wasn't true. You know, sometimes, and we're going to start seeing a lot more of it, because if things continue on this path, people are going to have to take matters in their own hands. More and more, they're going to have to, because we're being left holding the bag by the police and the city council and the mayor, the DA. I mean, what are you supposed to do? They're just letting methed out crazy people run the streets. You know, how are you supposed to compete with that? What are you supposed to do if the police aren't going to come? I mean, but they lie about this kind of stuff all the time. And it leads to this, you know, whole misinforming a majority of America. And what's going to happen when the law finds him not guilty or innocent? You know, he acted in self-defense, and now they're going to cause riots because people are going to be ill-informed. State regrets hiring Lionel Hutz to prosecute. Simpsons reference. CBS News called him a murderer before the trial was even over. That's just propaganda. That's what that is. That's lying, and that's not the way things are supposed to be done. That's not covered in Journalism 101. The menace here. The governor of Wisconsin, I suck at this sometimes. So he's going to put 500 National Guardsmen out on the streets for the Rittenhouse verdict, because he already knows it's going to go poorly because it was self-defense, so he's going to get let off, and they're going to riot. They're going to riot. They're going to riot in the name of what? That kid was under attack. It's on video. He shot a guy who was pointing a pistol at him. I mean, another guy was waving a skateboard like a club, running at his gun. I mean, there's even like evidence that showed that one of the guys was holding the barrel of the gun when it was fired. So, you know, it's all GSR, you know, gunshot residue, all that kind of stuff. So they already know what's going to happen. And is it going to be a bunch of Republicans going there to riot? No. It's going to be the far left. That's what it's going to be. And they're going to be funded and propped up by the politicians, the Democrats. The media is going to chime in. They'll gloss over it with the peaceful protests. They'll downplay any deaths. Total, you know, where's all the numbers? How come news agencies aren't bombarding us with the cost of last summer? So, if I understand the Republican argument on Rittenhouse here, you're cool teenagers from Compton armed with assault rifles driving to a MAGA rally in Orange County and opening fire if they feel a little scared. Okay, let's break that down. First of all, it was the teenager, correct. Not from Compton, but I got it. Assault rifle, no such thing as assault rifle unless it's fully automatic. But we'll give that to them. Driving to a MAGA rally is not like driving to a riot. Okay? So, there you go. Okay? And again, the people from Compton, why are they there at a MAGA rally in Orange County? Rittenhouse went because he knew the city, and he didn't want to see it burn down, and he didn't want to see people who he knew lose their livelihoods over this. So he went. Maybe he was stupid? I don't know. That's, you know what? Some people are called to action, man. I don't know. I might have done the same thing. Even LeBron had to shoot his mouth off, talking about lemon heads or something. That boy was false crying, says man who bursts into tears whenever somebody lightly brushes his elbow. Yeah, he's a fucking crybaby. He should shut up. Him and Kaepernick, man. You know, they don't use their platform for good. They use their platform for division. That's why I don't like them. They're not promoting the truth. I mean, most people have seen the video. He was under attack. He fought back. Hey, that rhymed. Didn't even mean to. If we won, I mean, dude, I don't even think of, yeah, we can't see the finish line. Cory Bush, white supremacy is the single greatest threat to our democracy, and fear-mongering about critical race theory is an extension of that. It's disgusting that blaming black people for your problems is still a reliable pathway to victory. Oh, okay, like your side who blames white people for everything. Yeah. Oof. It's a hot take there. But that's not what critical race theory is. It's blaming black people. I blame Barack Obama for putting me in a bind with the credit cards when he allowed them to raise their minimum payment. But other than that, I don't blame black people for anything. Whew. Yeah, here's a great one. They actually believe that China's going to comply with this. Yeah, you really think they're going to comply? Yeah, I'm guessing not going to be a lot of complying. Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, it's kind of funny, but whatever. It is gleefully putting out, that a police officer dies of COVID while on leave for failing to meet vaccine requirement. Yeah, see? Because that's news that's fit to print. Why are my poll numbers slumping? You're too moderate. Yeah, that's what it is. You're too You're too moderate. Yeah. See, that sums it right up. That sums up the problem we have. Moderates, looking at like a bad word. This was an old one that he brought back. It used to be a dead horse. Because again, they're just, that's it. That's all they got. Republicans. I mean, think about it. Like, if somebody who wasn't white wanted to be a Republican, they would be practically shunned in some communities. I mean, look at the kind of shit Winsome Sears, Larry Elder, many others have faced. I mean, Dave Chappelle just went through it. Come on, man. Like, y'all step, on that side, y'all step out of line, man. You get put down real quick. You don't got a second chance, man. And I think this one sums it up. Right there. We all know this happened a couple weeks ago, but this one popped up. And, or last week, I guess it happened, not a couple. But that's what's going on. They're appealing to a certain group of people, and they're ramping it to Jerry Springer-like levels. The problem with that is this is real life. If you want to talk about clean energy, start talking about nuke. Sun and wind is a beautiful thing. Works really great in certain circumstances, remote locations maybe, where you can't get the power grid out there. It's feasible. For house by house, somewhat sort of works. Like, hey, I get that. But on a grand scheme of things, it's not reliable enough. And they want everything. The metaverse, the electric vehicle verse. All of these things running off of electricity. And in North Dakota, they burn coal to make electricity. So, how is that going to help the environment? That's the way they think. They judge everything on the intent, not the result or the expected result. That's what they're doing out there. It all sounds good until it fails and you see the bill. Copious out.